Hey guys, I know I said I was going to do more reviews, so I thought the first one that I'd do was a review on a movie that I bought recently. It's one that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and out of all three horror documentaries that they've made about big horror film franchises, His Name Was Jason, Halloween, 25 Years of Terror, and this one, this is the best one by far, and it is Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street Legacy, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street's documentary. And there's just so much to talk about when talking about this movie. This kicked ass, plain and simple. This was such a well-done documentary. And in order, my favorites are probably this movie, Halloween, and His Name Was Jason. His Name Was Jason was by far the worst out of the three. But this was just such a good effort. And first off, let me just give an overview. Basically, this talks about every fucking movie in the Elm Street series, along with other things such as the TV show Freddy's Nightmares, merchandise like Nightmare on Elm Street stuff that they made, fans' perspectives, which is cool, and just tons of other cool things that they put into this that I'm surprised they actually took the time to do. First off, what makes this different from being a 90-minute documentary like most are, this is 4 hours long. Yeah, it's 240 minutes long. And friggin' chocked full of everything that you want in a documentary about Nightmare on Elm Street and more. And this goes through everything. Starting with, of course, the first movie, which, and even before that, this documentary has a lot of good production value. It has a lot of good, I mean, you get the sense that the people who made this took their time and wanted to make a good movie. His Name Was Jason. What was missing from that was like flow, like a really sequential pace, because that went everywhere. It went from from one movie to another, and it just jumped all over the place. This goes in sequence. It's precise. It's really very well put together. Including they have in between each movie, it has these really cool stop motion bumpers to the new segment, which is pretty cool. And the entire opening sequence with the stop motion was done very well. I don't want to ruin a lot, but first off, it talks about the first movie, and talks about how Wes Craven got the idea, which we all know how he got the idea for Nightmare on Elm Street. Was something that maybe could have been left out because it's something that you hear over and over and over again, but for the purpose of the documentary, I guess it makes sense. But it talks about the casting, the direction, the relationship with New Line and Wes Craven. They give interviews with Amanda Weiss, Robert Shea, of course Heather Langenkamp, and Robert Englund. They also talk to Jim Doyle, who did the technical effects, David Miller, who did Freddy's makeup. They also talk to a lot of other people. They talk to John Saxon, who played the father. So many people they interviewed, and it's really cool to see how many people they actually went out of their way to talk to. Even the person who you would never expect to do a documentary, they actually talked to from Part 5, the guy who played Super Freddy. If you remember in Part 5, the scene where the comic book guy is killed, he turns into the friggin' superhero, if you remember from Part 5, and, Freddy turns into the Super Freddy. They actually get the guy who played him, and they actually talked to him for quite a while, which was pretty cool. And then in part 2, they talk to Jack Shoulder, who directed it. They actually talk to Mark Patton, who has been out of the limelight for a while. Kim Myers, they talk to the guy who made the tongue. If you remember from part 2, the scene where Kim Myers and Mark Patton are making out, and the tongue, that friggin' weird-ass tongue thing comes out of Mark Patton's mouth. They talk to the guy who made that. And there's all these really cool little tidbits of information that they threw into this thing that are really interesting that I didn't even know. Like when they talk about the TV show, they actually talk about how, like, who directed it, and it turns out Tobe Hooper directed the pilot episode. Tom McLaughlin, who directed Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, and Sometimes They Come Back, directed an episode. Talked about how it was criticized by mainstream TV audiences. They talk about a lot of stuff, which is really, really interesting. In part 2, they actually talk about the gay overtones. They spent a lot of time on that. I was surprised that they even brought that up. And they come right out and say that it's a gay movie, that it was made for, you know, they didn't really know when they were making it, but the reputation it has now, they actually admit to it. They talked to Kim Myers, the girl from part 2. They talked to a lot of people with this, but and then when they get to part 3, they talk about how Chuck Russell, the director, was apparently a bit of an asshole. Chuck Russell, if you don't know, went on to do the Blob remake in 1988. He went on to do The Mask. Talk about how he was a bit of a control freak on set. They talk about how that's mostly fans' favorite film from the series. They talked to Dokken, the band who, of course, did the song Dream Warriors, which was cool to hear from them because I am a Dokken fan. But just a little side note, Dokken, they've lost it. I'm sorry. I bought their new CD, the Greatest Hits CD. Not doing it, guys. Really doesn't sound that good. I mean, it's okay for the big fan, but I'm sorry. I mean, I know I'm getting off topic, but they actually covered Dream Warriors for this CD. Sounds like shit. Just listen to the best of CD. This is not... I mean, if you're a big fan of Dokken, get this. Just came out, but I mean, if you're not, just avoid it. But it was cool to hear from them.